This is the disgusting one that I got the other day. You can just tell by the sound quality. Listen, it's not looking good, okay? We'll take the little top off here, and I just want to, again, show to you, I mean, that is just a very unique thing that I've never seen. Something that's so, I mean, that's iconic, is what that is. I might leave that for the time being, but this collecting so much moisture that it has seeped into the metal top it's impressive. It's like a very long-term print that was made on the camera. Yeah, it's okay for now. I'm gonna have to probably take this apart and clean it, which will be a whole other set of things to happen. But let's, for the time being, address the elephant in the room, which is how nasty this camera is. Now, I'm going to do what I haven't done in a while. I know I've done this a lot, but I've not videoed it in a while, and I'm going to take it apart. So we'll begin. I got this new spanner wrench. Okay, it's pretty nice. I used to use my rosary pliers for this, but I thought, you know, it's 2025. I should probably invest in some like actually decent tools, but unfortunately, I'm so used to using my shit tools that it's going to take a bit of a learning curve in order to get used to using, you know, higher quality things. I just thought this would be a good opportunity to return to the desk and share more of my thoughts on the experience of repairing a Pentax Spotmatic SP in the big year 2025. Kind of how I go about doing it, my thought process while doing so, and just my general state of sanity and clarity in the process of overwhelming odds and mold and growth, both fungally and corroded growth, fungal and corroded growth. We'll just kind of crack into this a little bit. We do have a bit of a time crunch, as I might be going out to get dinner here in a little bit, and I can return later tonight and record the remainder of this repair process, but I won't be able to provide voiceover, you know, minute-to-minute update voiceover. So I thought I would at least start the disassembly process while I'm recording it, while I'm able to do a little bit of voiceover for y'all, because this is you know, this is huge. This is discovery. You know, we're peeling apart the present wrapping. It's like Christmas morning, except instead of, you know, a new bike or the Red Ryder BB gun, instead I'm getting some kind of disease. So I think the move with these, I like the layout of these. I like the tools themselves. I just think that I'm used to other things. I think the move is to kind of not have it on the edge, keep it in the middle. I've been using them on lenses lately. If you're a member, got access to those lens videos. Okay, we're not dealing with this. I don't have time. And I don't think that this is the right move for the spanners. I just think I'm so much more used to this. And it also could be that this is just really gummed in there. Also, interestingly enough, so we did a whole video, I'll link it up there, for like older Spotmatics, and I noted that the font here is a bit older looking than later iterations of this font. Let's see. Bear with me. This is what the newer font looks like. This is what the older font looks like. So the older font here means that this is actually a lefty-loosey, as opposed to the more modern cross-threaded version, or reverse thread. So that's very good to know, because that's probably why the spanner wasn't working very well, because I was trying to do what you would normally do, which is righty-loosey as opposed to lefty-loosey. So Good to know I was right about that. Again, it's a little bit of an indictment on my just general life choices, that's something that really stuck out to me, but it was one of the first things I noticed when I got the camera. Even looking past all this, because this is nothing new to me, unfortunately. I wish it was. Now, some people might be looking at this and be like, oh, why aren't you wearing gloves, blah, blah, blah. And I don't really know. I don't have a great answer. I actually have some gloves that I really enjoy wearing, so I might want to toss those on. But I just figured for something like this, it should be relatively, I mean, obviously, yeah, it's disgusting. It's gross. It's gross in ways in which I've never seen before, which is not something I can say a lot of the time. It's concerning. I'm usually pretty accustomed to the nastiness, but this is a special level of gross. But I have a suspicion that it's only about skin deep. And so far that's coming to fruition. You can see in here, not a whole lot going on. Usually there's some kind of buildup along in here, but we're looking pretty clean. Obviously that's nasty there, nasty there. The mirror box is completely jammed up, so we'll have to remove that, and to do that we'll need to remove the bottom as well, and then the front leather. It's really not that bad. I'm genuinely quite pleased with the quality of it, because typically with stuff like this, I don't know, you can just tell. You can tell, because there's somewhere, you know, they try to clean them off, but underneath, you know, there's growths hiding. But with this, I was like, oh, it's very gross, obviously, but it has the Florida moisture grossness. Okay, this is just skin deep. You know, try not to judge a book by its cover, although that's something I do all the time with my pulp book obsession. We have some corrosion on the contact there. But yeah, no, I think this will be fine. I think we'll get it up and running again. The lens is another story. The lens is rough, okay? Make no bones about that. It is in not very good shape. I think the leather here might also need to be replaced, because one, I kind of tore it a little bit there, but also it's not having the best of times. The lens is in not very good shape. Okay, I'll let you know in on that little secret. The lens needs a lot of love and a lot of support in these trying times, and I'm trying to provide that. But at a certain point, you also got to know when to hold them. And I think some of the optics, like, they are clearing up enough, but there's also some of them that are pretty far past where I want them to be. And basically with optical clearing, especially with like the older stuff, you'll do like one pass through and you're like, oh, this is good, and then, like, you know, let it chill for a little bit and then revisit it, and the mold is back. And really what you were looking at was, by the way, look at that clean pull. That is skill. That is years of training and practice. Don't try this at home. There are better ways to go about it. Yeah, we're kind of at the point with the lens where I'm thinking it's good, and then I look at it again like an hour or two later, and we have new growth patterns that have unveiled themselves. So it's just like uncovering layers of abuse, and it's the worst kind of archaeological practice. You know, you're like digging through the different layers of rock and sediment, and you're like, oh wow, there was like a great big civilization that existed here. So we are in the process of taking the mirror box out, because that will give us access to where we need to be in order to clean up the curtain and the mirror box as well. Typically at this point I'd be like, oh, now let's begin soldering. And I probably will start on that in a bit, but you know, listen, I can't be bothered at this given juncture. I'm gonna take that out, take those out. I don't know if I can tell you how many times I've stab myself with this, but it is deceptively sharp. And we have a bit of growth on the mirror. Actually, quite a lot of growth. I don't know if you can see. That's all fungus in there. Sick. So we'll take care of this, lift it out. We're also operating with kind of an older style galvanometer here, kind of older style cells too, which is interesting to see. Definitely not as old as the other one, but they also have this really unique little lock system for your backdoor release, which is nice. It'll help free us up there. We'll also zoink out the power wire in the front. That'll be very helpful. And typically, I'll leave that for now. What I was going to say is that typically I would just unscrew the blue wire, because it's just a grounding wire. Like, it's soldered into a contact, but that contact is screwed into the body. So I'll just unscrew that so I don't have to deal with soldering that as well. Not that I'm against soldering it, but I just feel like at a certain point it becomes a little bit unnecessary. So we got the flash sync cables unsoldered. Everything else is good to go. Zoink this right there, and then that frees up that contact, and now there should be little to no issue except for the board. You see how the board kind of wedges itself in there a little bit, so you have to squeeze it out. Some people would tell you, oh, you should unscrew the board, and that's probably what I'll do, truthfully. There's probably like better, more appropriate ways of doing this, but we have like 15 minutes. I still need to put pants on and like get ready to go, so don't have that kind of time to waste doing things the right way, by the book. Are you kidding me? We are ripping and dipping. And then of course we have the final connective tissue piece that we need to separate, which is right here, and that out of here. Masking nicely. There we go. Good to go. So cool. Now we have the body separated, mirror box separated. And you can hear still how dry everything is. You can see all of the growth right in here. Maybe not, but there's quite a bit of corrosive growth. So what we're going to do is hit that with good old vinegar. Snag this. My grandma told me about this, I remember years ago. She's like, oh, we used to use vinegar to take care of like mold on windows or glass or whatever it was. I don't know, something along those lines. And anytime I do this, I think of her. Shout outs, Grandma. She's still alive and all that, but still. Nice lady. Very tiny. She's a very small lady. I find that funny. Little old lady. Kicks my ass at tennis though every time we've played. So, as you can tell, still very dry. We will address that in a bit. But now I want to focus our attention on this beast here. So we have your on-off switch right here. This, obviously, when you press it in, notice that the contacts connect there, meaning you get the bridge from the battery compartment up to the board, and also that presses in on your stop down. When your aperture gets stopped down, all of the light that's coming in is how it's going to look, because this is not a system in which the lens provides feedback to the camera unless the blades are stopped down. Later iterations of lenses, such as the K, had a different mechanism in which the aperture would be stopped down upon the firing of the camera, but the resistance from the blades from the aperture setting would still feed into the camera, meaning you could get accurate renditions of exposure without the need of stopping the lens down. All very pivotal and fascinating stuff. And I gotta say, for how kind of gross the camera is, the focus screen is insanely clean. Like, that is impressively clean. I'm not even going to touch that because there's no need. The seal on here too, I mean, look at this. This is plush. I've not done anything to it. That's very impressive. I am genuinely quite shocked, especially given how nasty this is in here. Very impressive. The other thing that I want to talk about is older Spotmatics and the HS series of cameras. When you're cleaning off the mirror, it's very important to not use like alcohol or anything like substantially harmful. Vinegar is probably about as abrasive as I would go in terms of cleaning chemicals, because anything else you can start etching away at the actual mirror itself. Don't ask me how I know that, but yeah. Now, the other concern I had initially was, why was it getting jammed up there? My suspicion was because of this. Yeah, okay, no, it's moving. Okay. Never mind. I was thinking that there was some physical component that was affecting its travel. I thought it was like fused up here, but I think it was just kind of gummed up. Good to know. I'm still going to clean this out though, because it's kind of gross. And with any of these things, like, just because we're taking care of like the surface level, you know, cleaning off the top and whatever, while we're here, even if it doesn't have any issues, it's worth addressing potential future problems, because you don't want to run into something where it looks nice and then the next person takes it apart and realizes what a catastrophe is going on the inside. So try to avoid that if we can at all possible. We'll let that chill for a bit, let it dry out, and then we'll add lubrication. Now for here, for this mamma jamma, I think what we'll do is I'm going to screw this back in just so that's, well, no, I'm not going to, because I want to clean the gearing off here. So if you're trying to fire a Spotmatic without having the mirror box in, just advance like so, clip this in here. You want to flick this right here, that little piece right there, that little piece right there, and then press down on this tab. And that will release the locked curtain there, and that will fully release both curtains. Just a little something to know right here. Click, press, advance. So we're hearing a lot of dryness, correct? Like, that's just the thing that we're hearing. So one of the more subtle areas in which the squeaking can occur is on the advance. And that comes from, believe it or not, over here. And you might hear that it sounds a little bit less dry, which is great. So that quick fix of just like dumping some alcohol in it will help you identify that that is indeed an issue. Now, the alcohol is not going to work forever because alcohol does dry up. So we'll just hit it with a drop of oil, and that should last a lot longer than the alcohol and also provide better lubrication overall. Now, I do want to hit this with more vinegar because I do not like how it looks still. I think that the rollers are pretty nasty. And again, I don't know, call me crazy, but I just think that cameras probably should not have a whole lot of mold in them. I have a very low mold tolerance when it comes to cameras. Your mileage may vary. You might be a big mold person. I personally am not. There's just something about it that irks me. Call it a pet peeve if you will, but it is a personal preference. So I'm just kind of cleaning this off as we go. The vinegar should hopefully prevent future growths of mold, but that really remains to be seen. I swear to God, if she's already here. God damn, that was quick. Okay. All right, we are done. That's all we have for now, folks. When we get back, we will be sorting this out. I'm just dumping some alcohol in here to kind of clear it out more. You'll notice that things sound a little bit better already, although still not fully operational. The shutter will need to be tightened up properly, things will need to be worked through, and we will need to add lubrication. But for now, that's where we're at. We will return.